So we're on really shifting and unstable ground right now because a whole bunch of trigger laws have gone into effect. Those are the laws that were waiting for the day for Roe v. Wade to be overturned to come into effect now that they are no longer unconstitutional according to the Supreme Court. Then we have zombie laws, which are historic laws that were around from before Roe v. Wade and now look like they might be good law again. First, there's the question of who is vulnerable to prosecution, because it used to be that in the anti-choice community, it was sort of a red line that you would not prosecute the woman who is seeking to obtain an abortion. All of the focus was on the providers. And a lot of these laws are written that way to say the person who administers the abortion, who provides the abortion, is the one who can be prosecuted. But that can change. Those laws can be interpreted differently. I'll give you just one example. If you think about administering an abortion, the majority of abortions in this country, even right now, are medical abortions. That means an abortion that you get by taking a pill. And so you're not in a room with a doctor. The person who is administering it is the woman herself. I also think that it's possible that prosecutors may look just at their regular all-purpose laws on the books, like laws prohibiting murder or attempt or assault, and apply those to people who are involved in an abortion, whether the woman who is getting the abortion or providers or people who helped her arrive in that moment. We talk about miscarriages, for example. Sometimes the appropriate medical treatment when you're having a miscarriage is to get what is technically an abortion to help you continue to evacuate the fetus that you have lost. It is possible that two things could happen. One is that an overzealous prosecutor could use an abortion prohibition against the woman, against her doctor, against a helper in those circumstances. But I think equally concerning, this is really important, is that there's going to be a chilling effect on doctors. So a doctor might say, well, I know I need to give that to my patient. I know I need to help her evacuate here, but I'm worried. I'm worried that if I do that, I will be exposed to criminal liability. In the enforcement of criminal law, we've seen that there's been, in all sorts of categories, racial disparities in how the law is enforced. And so we have to be vigilant about that now as we are on the brink of a new criminal regime coming to life. As people try to figure out how to get from places where abortion is prohibited to places where abortion is permitted, either physically or some other way, women in red states trying to get help from blue states, that's going to be the hardest on communities without means, people who can't afford to travel for the physical abortion, who can't take the time, who don't have the money to make that journey and then wind up waiting in an overcrowded abortion clinic in another state, subject to security and other concerns, or may not have the access to telemedicine, to getting the pills, to being able to access a medical abortion. And so it seems obvious to me that the effects of this whole new world are going to fall disproportionately harder on the backs of some people than on others. I think it's really important to think in the long term about what seeds have been planted in this opinion that somebody else can water and somebody else can cultivate that might turn into something very different and really change the landscape that we are in. I'll give you an example. The Mississippi law that was at issue in this case says that it has an exception for when there's a medical emergency or severe fetal abnormalities, whatever that means. So it doesn't prohibit abortion in those cases. But I think that the majority opinion actually leaves the door open to a state abortion ban that would cover even circumstances in which the life of the mother is in danger. I think that down the road, a state legislature that wants to say, well, look, we actually think fetal life is as important as the mother's life. And so we do want to prohibit abortion even when it means that she might die, there's room in the majority opinion to do that. And by the way, the dissent calls them out on this, and they don't answer because it's not something that that court wanted to deal with today, but it's not an oversight either. They didn't say it is constitutionally required for there to be protection for the life of the mother when you make an abortion ban, even though the dissent asked them about it. I think people in states that are prohibiting abortion now or seem like they're on the brink of prohibiting abortion need to think local, think local, think local. I know that there's this desire and this impulse to look for a national solution, and the president and the attorney general are talking about that. But right now, I think the focus has to be on state legislators, so talking to your own representatives about what you think is the right and the fair law, and also, really importantly, on local prosecutors. You know, there are 3,700 elected prosecutors across this country, and some of them cover really small ground, which might make it easier as a voter to be able to say, look, this is what I want.